Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, everybody. Welcome to another episode of John Reads and Boycott Arsenal. This is hashtag number 8. So, where we left off yesterday, / last night, / this morning, / this afternoon, whenever you last listened to last episode. So effectively, whatever is in Arsenal's mind, he believes everyone else in the entire world. He has exactly the same information, so he has decided that he is going to self-harm for whatever reason. He can't understand why another doesn't do the same. Alan, now you know this test and have explained the results to me. Does that help you put things into perspective? Pardon me. Arsenal. I'm learning now that not everyone thinks like me, because when I used to harm, a lot of it was because someone had done something different to me, and I couldn't work out why they hadn't done it the same as me. Then I would have the argument in my head, and that would lead to self-harm. But yeah, so much of it is about when someone does something different, and I didn't get it, do I? Why the fuck did they do it? Another paragraph. The clinical description of Arsenal why the fuck is as followed. In order to pass the test, brackets identify the brief question by identifying was still in the drawer and not the cupboard. The answer was continuous with Nicola's perspective, but not with Arsenal's own. If Arsenal could not take an alternative perspective, he would have identified that Nicola had cause to believe. As Arsenal did, that the phone had moved. Passing the test was thus seen as manifestation of Arsenal's understanding that Nicola had her own beliefs that may not have correct something or other word I can't read with reality. This is the core requirements of theory of mind. As we know from his diagnosis, Arsenal failed miserably. Whilst this test is not by no means full comprehensive, it is used in telling about social development traits in autism. But far more importantly to Arsenal, Nicola and Samantha, they had completed their own tests or investigations, and were starting to realise some of the issues that Arsenal had been enduring for his 50 years. His perspective of reality was blocked, or black and white, and not only black and white, but his source of reality. This was the whole family's what the fuck moment. Not only was Arsenal starting to understand his condition, in air quotes, condition, but so were his family, the people who had suffered the most through Arsenal's difficult years. Now we different year. Some sympathetic. Some of what it come from would simply be to unbelievable. Sorry, and whilst it's so difficult to have an empathy, understanding, and sympathy, should be at the forefront of our thoughts. As they started to move into the thoughts of Nicola, as Samantha and Danielle, if only at the age of 16, Arsenal's family and friends could have had some understanding. Alan. Was Samantha's suicide attempt to trigger for you getting your diagnosis? Arsenal. It wasn't a trigger for me, it was a trigger for the hospital after hearing Samantha telling them why she tried to take her own lives because of me. And right away they say in my report that they knew straight away I wasn't right. That sounds very horrible, I must say. I wasn't right. That's me ad-libbing there. Me saying, I wasn't right. That sounds good, doesn't it? Well, straight away I wasn't right is actually in the book. If you buy the book, you'll be able to read along. And then I got interviewed and I would just snowboard. I got diagnosed within 6 months. Alan! Not Alan! Alan! Not the meerkat meme. No, not that. Alan! But you agreed to have some tests done, so did you get to the point when you thought you were driving your daughter to suicide, and you needed to do something? Arsenal. No, somebody else made that decision for me. No, I never resigned at all. RAGISTERET. At all. It never triggered to them saying this is what it was. Then they told me, if you keep on doing this, you are going to hurt yourself and that could lead to death. Then they said, you're hurting your girls, and you're hurting your wife. And it was in the hospital they had to tell me, because it got nothing of that message coming down to say, I've got to stop this. Arsenal pointing to his head. That's it, you see, people have to tell me stuff. Another paragraph. It's one thing to It's one thing to be told stuff being in air quotes, but to be told everything that Arsenal was hearing at 49 would have been too much for people. Not Arsenal, He talks about triggers all the time. Well, this was trigger to turn his life around. And that is the end of chapter 4 of A Boy Called Arsenal. If you're liking this series, don't forget to like and subscribe to the series. And if you enjoyed this video, comment down below if you liked it. There'll be another video coming out tomorrow of A Boy Called Arsenal. I'm actually enjoying this book. I know this chap in person, but for now, goodbye.